Wow, major props, Star Man. You cut down your own tree for the holidays. He doesn't have no stinking plastic tree in the basement. He cuts it down with his own bare, slimy hands like a real man. We have so many exciting horror movie updates to talk about today, including a return to the Return of the Living Dead franchise, which is a hard thing for me to say, as you can see. We also have updates on I Know What You Did Last Summer, 28 Years Later, American Psycho reboot, and of course, Scream 7. Now let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm KillJoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Did you know that there are 5 Return of the Living Dead flicks? I haven't even seen the last 2. That franchise to me is just those first 2 wonderful goopy horror comedies. Although the sequel has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, I don't understand that. I think it's just as fun as the first one. Now Return of the Living Dead returns yet again for Christmas of 2025. The teaser trailer that just came out today reveals a Christmas setting as well. It does make me question a little bit how Tarman here isn't just frozen in place like a zombie probably would be, but I do appreciate those frozen fingies. It's party time, baby! The film comes from Living Dead Media and director Steve Walsh, who also made movies like Muck and Kill Her Goats. I have not seen Muck or Kill Her Goats, but let me tell you that I really like both of those titles. What is wrong with her goats and what is in the muck? I'm invested already, Steve. I can't wait to see your take on Return of the Living Dead. We are 2 for 2 on excellent zombie movie trailers, in my opinion as well, although I didn't love this as much as the 28 Years Later trailer, which genuinely made me terrified and so scared to see that movie just from the trailer alone. This one was really cool and simplistic because it's literally just Tarman dragging a Christmas tree across a snowy graveyard. There's a lot of love in my heart for teaser trailers that just show us like one little scene from something from a movie so it doesn't spoil everything that happens. We didn't even get a great look at what Tarman looks like in this movie, which again has me very excited. I don't want to know all of that before I see the film. Living Dead Media even says that fans of the film will know not to expect to see any returning characters given their terrible fates in the original. Audiences can expect, however, to be welcomed back into the dark-humored, sexy, edgy, trioxin-fueled world horror fans first encountered in 1985. If you want to know more about this 6th entry, you can go to returntofthelivingdead.com to see some behind-the-scenes clips. As of right now, though, I'm very excited to see what this is all about. I hope it feels a little more akin to those first 2 movies. I'm just not as crazy about 3, and again, I haven't seen 4 or 5, but it doesn't look like they capture the same energy as their horror comedy roots. Speaking of zombies, we gotta clarify something about my last 28 Years Later video. This zombie right here, not Cillian Murphy. Not only did you guys make that very clear to me in the comments section, but the artist that actually portrays this zombie came out and said, hey guys, that's me, that's not Cillian Murphy. 2 seconds after saying, could this be Jim? I showed people pictures of Cillian Murphy on set in like regular clothing and he doesn't look all malnourished and nasty like this. I hate to sound so bitter, but that was like a 13-minute video talking about so many different things I'm excited for with 28 Years Later, and most of the comments are, you're wrong, that's not Cillian Murphy. This zombie is actually played by an art dealer named Angus Neal. During an interview with The Guardian, Neal talks about how Boyle talent spotted him for his distinctive look. He even says, Danny told me he had always had me in mind for the role, so we met up, hit it off, and I agreed to take the part. On set, he has an extraordinary ability to hypnotize you, and working with him on the film was a very, very intense experience. If you want to hear me talk more about 28 Years Later, check out this video over here. It is the film I am the most excited for moving into 2025. I cannot wait for this one on June 20th. 2025 is going to be an excellent year for horror. I would even go so far as to say better than 2024. I've been saying it for months now, and most of you probably have been too, but Jennifer Love Hewitt is officially confirmed to be in the new I Know What You Did Last Summer. Jennifer Love Hewitt posted on Instagram this morning, writing, "It's never too late to go back. Julie James is returning." Yeah, of course she is. They could not make the I Know What You Did Last Summer requel without Julie James. She is easily the best character from that original film. I feel like this franchise is one of the most personal 90s slasher franchises because of the situation it creates. The film also features an extensive new cast of characters who will likely get hooked in the face at some point here. I think they're trying to do a Scream 5 thing here, but it's a little strange to me. Like, are you gonna have another group of young kids hit somebody on the side of the road and try to write it off like it never happened? I don't know. To me, that's just such a unique situation. How are you gonna continue that story? I'm excited to see how Jennifer Caton Robinson and Leah McKendrick are going to do that, though, however, next July. I am shocked that Kevin Williamson is not involved with this one. I mean, I know he's busy with Scream 7, but like, does he even have a hand in this? What's going on with that? He wrote the original movie. I think that's why it's so good. If I were in charge of this one, I'd be getting his input. That's all I'm saying. This is probably the most controversial update of this entire video, but Austin Butler has been cast as Patrick Bateman in the new American Psycho movie. Now listen, I am right there with you. American Psycho does not need a remake. It is perfect how it is. You cannot tell that story better. You cannot cast somebody better than Christian Bale to play that part. You can't, sorry. But I have to admit, I am still a little invested in this new reimagining of the flick coming from Luca Guadagnino. Writer Scott Z. Burns specifically states that this is a new adaptation of Ellis's novel and not a remake of the 2000 film. Believe it or not, the 2000 movie loses a lot of things from the Bret Easton Ellis original novel. Most people don't know that a big facet to the novel is Patrick Bateman's brother, who I don't even, like, does he get mentioned maybe once? Director Luca Guadagnino also helmed 2018's Suspiria, which is a crazy reimagining of that original 70s flick. It's hard to argue that that one's a remake. What Luca does really well with Suspiria 2018 is taking elements from the original and just reimagining them, making them something completely different. It's a very unique story from the 70s giallo flick. I hope that's the mindset that Scott Burns and Luca are in for this new American Psycho, but again, I think there's another big element to American Psycho that we have to bring up right now due to current events. I don't want to get political, but it's kind of hard to talk about American Psycho without talking about the current political state of America. The Bret Easton Ellis novel is a very pessimistic satire on yuppie-dumb culture, which was headed almost entirely by Donald Trump in the 80s. Everybody wanted to be him. If you don't believe me, Patrick Bateman even name drops the guy in the film, and so many more times in the novel. Due to recent events, I'm sure they're going to keep those satire elements very, very present in this new take. So don't expect a movie that completely loses everything about the 2000s flick, just a new version of the same tale. We might even get some Huey Lewis if we're lucky too. American Psycho from 2000 is one of my favorite horror movies ever made, so I can't imagine that this film is even going to come close to that, but I'm excited to see what elements they play around with and how it relates to current events. This is a really interesting update for the new Ghostface flick. Scream 7 has just announced that McKenna Grace is a part of the cast. But what's interesting about this is that it was rumored a long time, like maybe like a month and a half ago now, that McKenna Grace was going to be playing Sydney's daughter, but that doesn't seem to be the case. The rumor around her character now is that she's going to be playing Sydney's daughter's rich friend, which definitely spells a villain arc there. Out of all the young people cast so far as well, she's also the biggest name. When it comes to modern murder mystery flicks as well, typically your biggest name that's joining the cast for the first time is your killer. So I'm calling it right now, McKenna Grace is going to be our lead Ghostface. I think her sidekick will be Asa German, because look at those cheekbones, bro. Dude has thought about murder a couple of times. I imagine this is going to be very similar to a Jill and Charlie relationship from Scream 4. I'm banking on it as of right now. I don't think Scream 7 has too many tricks up its sleeve. I'm a big Scream fan. I really do like this franchise, but right now Scream 7 is telling me we are going to play it safe and do another Scream 4, another Scream 5, which has already been done twice in this franchise. Honestly, when they first announced back in March of this year that Neve Campbell was coming back for Scream 7, that was a little exciting to me. Although I was like, okay, you know, I guess we can do one more Sydney story. I don't know if that's the most like original thing they could possibly do. I'm open to it. I'll see what they could do with this character once again. Now it just seems like they're doing exactly the same thing as 4 and 5, which in my opinion, those are kind of diminishing returns. I like 4. 4 is really fun for what it is, but 5 is kind of just a lesser version of that in a lot of ways. I do still like the killers in Scream 5, but ultimately there's just not a whole lot going on with the legacy characters that I like in the flick. Although I will say Dewey's death holds a lot of weight, and it always makes me a little upset every time I see it. Sydney and Gale don't get to do anything in Scream 5, and then in Scream 6 it's even worse with Gale's character. Neve Campbell will likely be on the sidelines this entire movie again, with Isabel May in the lead role, and then, you know, she's gonna come and try to help her daughter in the third act or something. I just think that if you're going to announce that, hey, this is the big return for Neve Campbell, she's coming back to the franchise after missing the last movie, make her the lead character again, man. Spyglass also just pissed off a lot of their new fans. Who is still going to see Scream 7? The legacy fans. Cater to them. Make the characters in this movie closer to Sidney Prescott and make her the focus again. Why are we doing this halfway bullshit? That doesn't make any sense to me. Scream 7 is telling me that it is not going for the home run. It's just going to bunt and hopefully get a walk to first base. As someone who enjoys the Scream franchise, I think I'm still going to have fun with this entry, but I can imagine newcomers or people who aren't as familiar with Scream just watching this movie and being like, that wasn't that great. God, I hope I'm wrong about this one, but there's just a lot of bad juju with Scream 7 at the moment. The film comes out on February 27th of 2026, so we do have a lot of time to sit and wait on this one. Maybe my opinion changes. We'll have to see. Before we wrap up today's video, video, don't forget to subscribe to KillJoy Jake Retro. It's my brand new channel where I'm doing deep dives on a bunch of crazy horror movies. This channel is all about upcoming horror movies. That page will be mostly dedicated to films from the past. So definitely check it out and go subscribe. What do you guys think about today's horror updates? Leave me something about it in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.